All right. So, it is a hot, muggy day in the little village of Zalhan in the kingdom of Penja. The city is roughly kind of bean-shaped, with the majority of the outside edge of the curve kind of facing out into a rugged, dry plains for the most part. A lot of the area immediately around the town has been just literally carved out of the jungle itself to make room for farms and buildings and homesteads and all that kind of stuff. There's a slight wooden wall, a little barricade of logs that have basically been buried and built this little fortification around the main city itself. Most of the water for the town comes from a variety of wells that have been dug throughout the area, with a couple of large public wells / fountains that are in some of the larger market squares. The town is all at a buzz. There are merchants coming in from the southern areas, including all the way from the capital itself, all coming here to set up for a once-a-year market, an annual market where a number of the Uru tribesmen will come in, bringing various wares and stuff that they have brought from the north, that they have traded with the elves, the red dragonborn, some of the people of Kunai and Ichiura and the other kingdoms over there. And they all bring them to this one small town on the border of the Urubar Steppes. And so some merchants have come here to basically bringing goods of their own that they are hoping to trade, while at the same time bringing large amounts of gold coin to purchase wares from other places that are a little bit more difficult to reach. You two are busy about the inn. The Dancing Tiger is just a hub of merchants and travelers, and it is just completely packed at the moment. There are no rooms to spare, and he's even the inn owner, Sabine, has even double booked some of the rooms to people that are willing to basically share rooms with traveling strangers. But you guys are all about running back and forth, delivering food to various tables and taking orders, things you wouldn't normally be doing at this time of day, which is roughly about noon. So you're running back and forth, delivering large platters of spicy foods, tankards of cold, fresh water, ale, some wine, a few other more exotic drinks. All the while, people are yelling at you and, well, about half dozen other serving folk that are running around in the main in the main dining area, which seats about 60 or so people comfortably. But there just seems to be a lot more than that, with extra chairs being kind of packed in around some of the tables. Some of the more luxurious tables, where they're basically little side booths with short tables and throw pillows and everything, have basically just had extra pillows and everything thrown in there, and there's just people just kind of squished together. The ceiling fans are currently going with one of the young boys that Sabine has hired. He basically pulls a little rope and it causes the fans to sway back and forth to stir the air. But it is hot and sweaty and muggy. Luckily, inside this chamber, it's not as bad. It's about 10 degrees cooler than it is outside, which is about 110 degrees. But that's what you two are currently doing, running around, serving drinks, serving food, taking orders, and doing your best to keep up with business. But Savin has promised you an extra few gold coins for your troubles, as well as a special surprise later that night, once things have died down a little bit.
So around 2 a.m.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you two are out in the busy streets. The roadways are just packed with people moving in and out of the area. Merchants have pushed a lot of their wares out into the streets, trying to take advantage of the large crowds and stuff. There are street hawkers that are walking around with these wheeled carts with the umbrella up above it. Some of them serving street foods, serving colder drinks, or at least colder drinks, as well as people that are selling trinkets, various necklaces, and bobs and goods here and there. There's, as you guys are kind of walking along, you guys are being very wary, watching your surroundings, because there's been trouble for you two as of late, and it hasn't been very pleasant. So you're kind of watching what's going on, but at the same time, you're very interested in what's going on. This is a very exciting time. Lots of interesting artifacts and goods come into the area that you don't see all the time. So it's kind of neat to kind of go through and see what kind of weird, random things that the vendors are trying to sell. As you're passing by one particular booth, you see one of them has a display case with a number of different daggers and basically small swords, specialized arrows, and some little throwing knives and stuff like that. That's kind of, as you're kind of going by and looking at that, it's kind of interesting. But what really catches your eye isn't so much the goods that this particular merchant is selling, but the merchant themselves. She's strange looking. She looks fairly human, except that she has this crazy red hair that hangs down very, very, very straight and kind of falls over her shoulders. Pale skin. She has the general appearance of one of the people from the continent of Kyoto. So kind of has that kind of Asian overall appearance to her. Wearing a kimono that is very nicely fitted to her. It's got little foxes playing all around in the stitched into the silk kimono, and she's got a red sash that's tied around her waist. But she's got this like crazy red hair and these really, really strange green eyes. And as you're walking by, she's like, "Good sis, you look like some dashing adventurers in training, looking for weapons, perhaps of a mystical sort."
Well, I'm happy. I don't know if we have any coin, but I don't know. Are we? Well, that's a little extreme. I know, like, you're still sporting your black eye there, but
You like you have your teeth.
yeah.
Come, don't be shy. Step up.
I'll take a look closer.
Alright, so you step
I'm
up.
already curious, so.
Step up closer and you smell lilies, perhaps, or some other fragrant flower that you don't normally smell in the city itself. And she smiles very broadly, and she seems to have her smile seems a little bit too large, almost Cheshire Cat-like.
She's gonna eat you.
And she's like, "Let me guess. Bullies, terrible scoundrels, terrorizing you day and night, haunting your dreams."
I don't know about that. Okay.
Not to worry. I have something very special that will help you with this. She reaches in and pulls out this small box with a beautiful lotus flower on the top of it. It's not very large, maybe a 6x6 square, about 1.5 inches deep. She like reaches out, opens it up, and as she does, you see that it's a box that contains a number of rings. She's like, please, select one, a gift from me to you.
Reach out and grab one.
This. I want to do an insight set check. This is awfully suspicious.
Alright.
4.
She seems very trustworthy. Nothing odd about her.
Nothing odd at all, no.
She holds out the box.
Against my better judgment, I'll grab one that catches my eye.
Okay. She's like, very good, very good. Wear these rings and they will bring you good luck. Should your luck turn to that of the better than it currently is, remember me. Tell your friends about me. Bring them back to my booth here and perhaps I can earn a little extra coin.
Thank you.
And she puts the box away. And she bows very deeply.
We scramble.
Yeah, we like to do this.
As you scramble off down the road, you nearly bump into a curious figure, a dragonborn. You don't see them very frequently in this town. Not frequently at all. Matter of fact, you can count the number of times that you've seen one on a single finger. And it was many years ago. But this dragonborn is a little bit taller than you, of deep crimson scales, and just kind of looks at you as you bump into this into their body. And what do you say to them?
Pardon me. No, excuse us. I was running without looking. Like,
Where are you off to in such a hurry?
Where are we off to? I was at a shop with a suspicious woman. Gave us a ring. I don't know. I don't know why we grabbed those. It's awfully suspicious.
That's a free ring. I mean,
It looks like it's made out of copper, but it looks like a fox. It's basically kind of curled around itself. Basically, the tail makes up one end of the ring, and then the fox's body makes the other.
we have this thing with running into red hair, red skin. Oh, this is our lucky day, I guess.
I guess it's a very red day. It's so hot too.
It is. You just sweat kind of beading off your skin. But you guys are from here, so you're kind of
this
accustomed
isn't
to
an
it.
unusually hot day for this area. Just a hot day.
Just a hot day.
Okay.
We haven't
Of
seen.
course, you, being a red dragonborn, you don't. The heat doesn't bother you anyway.
Heat never bothered me anyway.
Molten.
How long ago was it that we seen a dragonborn?
About 7-8 years ago. It's been a really long time.
Ancestor, we were really.
So it's like myth and legend for us almost.
Yeah.
So what brings a dragonborn here?
Travel,
For the market?
just experiences.
We're still looking around.
Yeah.
I guess, are we moving on, or where was the plan?
Well,
We had nowhere planning to go.
I'm going to assume that I've been trying to talk Sooraj into a scheme, assuming that we know, like, does Karami have anything that she holds dear that I know of, or we potentially know of? And I'll maybe explain why.
Not like any kind of like.
Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be anything expensive. It's just, I'm thinking
She's
about...
one of those people that comes from a very wealthy family and gets pretty much everything she wants. So nothing that she owns is actually holds any worth to her.
What about the other two kids, Jakar and Tomish?
Both of them are local boys, kind of on the more poor side. One of them you're fairly certain might actually be an orphan, but you're not really sure. They seem to cling to her because she is quick to buy her friends.
So what about?
And they are kind of naturally bullies themselves.
So maybe, not doesn't have to be anything dear to her, but maybe just something that seemed expensive in her house, like her maybe belonged to her parents.
A lot. They own the diamond mine.
Because I've got it in my head, and that I want to steal something from them, and basically plant it on one of the other two kids that jumped us. And that's just probably something that I've been trying to talk you into. I don't know what your character's personality is shaping up to be yet, but
Well, I've been hanging out with you.
but I mean,
for
obviously,
a few years.
if they own the diamond mine, this is probably going to be something super stupid and dangerous. But you know, it's like I want to get back at them and.
Well,
Is Ruby just kind of standing there listening to them talk back and forth about getting even with
he's
people?
pretending not to listen. Instead of listening.
yeah, I mean, we can do that. We just need to. You're the one that is better skilled at this.
You look over, you see the Dragonborn standing like right there watching you guys.
I mean, maybe it's just a pipe dream. Maybe it's just, you know, my emotions getting in the way of things, but I'm just frustrated.
Well, yeah, I don't like having a black eye. But
I'm sorry, this is probably not the experiences you're thinking of.
nah. And forgive my rudeness. My name is Sooraj.
Nice to meet you, Sooraj and Ruby.
Vikram, I mean, what, still it's a little afternoon?
Yeah, it's just like right at noon for the most part.
Yeah, have it. I
Check the sundial.
Yes. Alright, am I facing north? Alright,
Look by the sundial.
The heat's getting to you.
we could go. You want to grab a bite to eat? You want to come join us?
I would love that.
We could go and find.
Alright, so you're looking at maybe hitting at one of the street vendors. You want to go to one of the shops. You want to go to the Dancing Tiger and see if you can slip in to get something special and watch some of the dancers.
Sure.
We can show Ruby the sights.
Have you seen the dancers around here? They're
They have
amazing.
They have a cat-like grace. As I laugh at myself.
But
I'll probably just a street vendor and find somewhere with some shade, maybe.
Okay. So while you guys go off to locate some food, you two have finally caught yourself a little bit of a break. Couple of the other one serving girl and one of the serving boys that usually works the night shift came in as basically to earn a few extra coins, and Savin is like, "My children, you have done very well." Gives you 5 gold. Gives you 5 gold. Kiss on the forehead each, and says, "Go out. Do something enjoyable. Find some trinkets in the market you wish to purchase. Go, go, go."
I'm gonna snag a cold drink
Okay.
before ducking out of the building.
Yeah. There's lots of various fruit drinks. Some alcoholic, some that are just fruit.
Gonna go for a straight up fruit drink, but with a tiny umbrella in it.
Okay. So you grab one of those. It's like passion fruit with some sort of other kind of orangish, like orange juice like flavor to it.
I want a mango flavored one.
Okay. So you each grab a drink, quickly drink it down because you don't want to take the glasses out of the inn, and set it off to the side and head out into the bustling streets of Zalhan, where you quickly find yourselves kind of enthralled with a number of vendors and everything. As you are looking at this one particular vending stall where it's got some various silk scarves and some jewelry and stuff, one that's come all the way from the capital, so it's like fine clothing and stuff, so you're kind of checking that out. When this rather tall group of people kind of walk by, kind of cast this broad shadow over the two of you. And you look up and you see this one woman, approximately almost 8 feet tall, maybe 7.5 to 8 feet tall, broad in shoulders, deep gray skin with various like burned and carved in scarification marks all down her arms and across her fingers. There are bits of stone kind of embedded underneath the skin. Some of it gemstones that are just slightly exposed across the surface. And then a number of bone and jewel and like silver piercings across her eyes and everything. Her head is completely shaved on one side from about the middle over, and the rest of it is just this long black coarse mane of hair that kind of drapes off to one side, and it's kind of like kind of hangs loose, and then about halfway down it gets turned into like a number of braids with bits of bones and beads kind of worked into it. Next to her is a large muscle-bound behemoth with a similar skin tone, scars all of his own, some kind of ritually made into beast shapes like bears and elk and wolves and stuff that kind of go up the arms and across the chest. And in the very, very center of his chest is a large scar. Only this one looks like it was made during some sort of battle. It's just this massive rake of claws across the chest. He kind of looks at you, and he's completely bald, both like facial hair, top of his head, everything just completely hairless, and he just kind of looms over you, about the same height as the woman. And just behind and between them is another woman, only she is about 6 feet tall, same grayish colored skin, maybe slightly lighter, very few scars on her face, or tattoos. She has a couple of piercings and stuff here and there, but she just generally seems to be less adorned than the other two. And they just kind of, the two larger ones just kind of look down at the two of you, kind of scowl ever so slightly, and kind of move through the market. They both have these large packs, which you can see bits of things kind of protruding out of the top of it and everything. These sacks look like they probably weigh 300-400 pounds a piece, and they don't seem to notice that they're even wearing them as they kind of push their way through the crowd heading towards the southern side of the town. Would you like to give more description of yourself than that?
Yeah, my hair is black hair. I found a picture that I like. I'm not good at like coming up with pictures on my own. So like that, like black hair, like really long hair, black hair. Like, would I be a fighter at this point? I mean, not this young.
Yeah, you don't have any class whatsoever.
No, but I mean, like in the clan, would I be? Everyone has to pull their weight.
Yeah, but you're mostly responsible for helping set up and tear down camp and general stuff like that.
Okay.
If the clan is attacked, then yeah, you're expected to basically defend yourself and those around you. But that you're not a warrior or hunter or anything within the clan at this point.
Okay. No, that's, I mean, the description that I had in my mind, the scarification and tattoos, but it would make sense that as you grew older, you'd get more tattoos, the more things that you did. Same thing with the nickname would change.
What you see is a strange humanoid cat, and then another human female. To you, much like most of the other young, small females of the human species, they all kind of blend together to you. But the cat The humanoid cat, that's different. You've never seen anything quite like that before. So, would you two like to give descriptions of yourselves?
I don't really have a description of myself.
Well, what
Pretty
color is your
green
fur?
cat.
Well, can I be any color fur? Okay, well, I am a little black cat. The white paws. No.
How tall are you?
All black. How tall are dogs usually? Between
about
4 foot and 5.5.
Yeah, they're roughly the same size as human, maybe just slightly shorter.
I am about 4.5 feet tall. I have a very lovely tail, pointy little ears, and yellowish eyes. But my whiskers are white.
Do you have a mean cat face or a happy cat
I
face?
have a happy cat face.
What type of clothing are you wearing?
Loose flowing robes. Only when we're at home. Jewel colored robes. Nothing to impede me if I decide to start running and frolicking. The other girl has darker brown skin, a lot like the locals around here. Dark brown skin, hair that's not black but dark enough brown that it should be, and she's got kind of golden brown colored eyes. And her outfit is this mixture of reds and light browns and yellows and oranges, sashes that go around her body with tiny little coins basically stitched onto it. It's a dancer's outfit. She is very clearly a dancer / performing person. And if you look back, well, after the other two are gone, she's like, because the other two are big and scary.
Yeah. I kind of look at them because I'm curious.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of wave at this one like, oh, it's all right. Looking at the cat going,
And would we have seen them
A
before?
Goliath? No,
Okay.
never.
I think I have heard of people like this. They are called giants. I think that they eat people like this. Do they have a whole bunch of, like, what kind of goods were in those packs? They look like furs, did it look like gems?
From what you could see, the large woman, in one of the few things that was sticking out of the pack, because it's basically all closed
Stuff
in,
full.
but it's stuffed full, and there's one thing that's sticking out. It looks kind of like a jewel-encrusted golden rod of some sort.
Maybe they are pirates.
And then the other one has what looks like maybe like some sort of large tusk or something that's very intricately carved that kind of protrudes. There's two of them, and it's basically tied to the outside of the pack. And they're about 4 feet in length.
Would it look like tusk from like the boars that are in the jungle, or is it from something?
These are big. This is way bigger.
What about
They're
elephants?
definitely not elephants. You've seen elephants and the way elephant tusks look. These are something completely different. You have no idea what these could be off of.
Those are giant teeth. I
Don't
am a little
whisper.
bit frightened. Well, there are plenty of other exciting things to see. Let's go find some. Grab her hand, her paw, sorry, and drag her off in the marketplace, kind of taking advantage of the wake that the large people have created.
So you just kind of following along behind them.
I mean, it clears the way. It's pretty crowded out
So,
here.
so every once in a while you look back and you see the human is pulling the cat along. Perhaps maybe the cat is a pet. You're not really certain. And,
that's what I'm going to assume. Like,
but they seem to be following you. Soon your mother looks back at you. Go. Join amongst the people. Learn some things. We'll see you tonight. You know where the encampment is. And she just turns and walks away.
Turn and walk away.
I'm going to turn immediately around
All right.
and stop, and they're probably going to bump into me.
You guys go and she just quickly spins around and plants both feet. And it's like walking into a wall.
It sounds like a cat's jingly bells because I
And she's just tall enough that you're like right between her boobs.
Sorry. sorry.
I drink back into the hole.
Are you two following me?
More like
No.
taking advantage of the space you've created.
What are you?
That's extremely rude.
She
I'm
is nice.
I don't have a lot of skills talking to other people.
Clearly you don't have any manners either.
I apologize. We're not a clan or people of manners.
Is your tail like out right now?
It's a little puffed out.
It's a little puffed out.
Yeah.
She is easily startled.
My mom wants me to look around. And would you like to show me any interesting spots or introduce me? Are you guys from here?
This town is never interesting. This is the most interesting it has been in a year.
So you live here?
Yeah,
Okay.
we live down that way.
Well, I am Lonehunter.
But there were 3 of you.
It's a nickname.
Oh,
So
oh, excellent. I'm Aditi, and this is my friend Endora.
What's a nickname?
It's when you don't have a very long name like your parents.
Actually, you would know very well nicknames because the Tabaxi have like really long names, and they go by like a really shortened version of it.
Yeah, but I do my own thing. I don't pay attention to what my parents.
Her mother's name is like lone snowflake that dances in the mountain clouds when it's raining
And sometimes snowing.
and sometimes snowing, and that her name just goes on and on.
For a long time.
very interesting. Well,
So nicknames are good.
my full name is Erin Lonehunter of the Iron Mountain Clan.
You fit right in with my parents.
Where is the Iron Mountain?
It's a long ways north of here.
It's a very long ways north. Where I live.
I have not been north. But
But we've been here,
we have been here a lot.
and we know where lots of things are. So we could show her.
We could. Although I think that we should currently be following your nose to find something to eat.
That's a good idea. Are you hungry?
I could eat.
Let's go eat.
Not us though, right?
No.
You don't eat us, right?
No.
No?
At all?
No.
What do you eat?
Others?
Animals.
I'm an
We
animal.
hunt.
You are a person.
Animals that don't talk.
Oh, okay.
At least as far as you know.
They don't say
Probably eat them too.
They don't say please don't eat me. So we figure it's fair game.
Alright, so the 3 of you start making your way through the market square, and you come across a vendor that's kind of got a variety of diced up fruit, basically in a kebab style setting, basically a stick with a lot of different fruit and stuff on it. There's like meats and vegetables on sticks, and then some that are just vegetables, some that are just meats. It's a variety of these different kebabs set up on like this wheeled cart that this guy's kind of pushing around. He stops every once in a while and serves some people. You currently see 3 others that are actually at this cart. 2 local boys. You've seen them around. The 2 of you don't really spend a lot of time out in town, comparatively speaking, but you have seen these 2 boys running around before. One of them currently has like a really beat up black eye that looks like it's on the verge of healing, so it's kind of got that like really green look around the outside edges of it for the most part. And then the other one's got like a split lip, and the side of his jaw is just slightly swollen. Next to those 2, you see a slightly taller than them Dragonborn with red scales. You guys have seen Dragonborn. A couple of them have come through the inn. Usually they're either adventurers or traveling merchants, but you don't see them frequently. But there they are, standing next to these 2 local boys. You 3 see 2 locals, one that you immediately recognize because she's a little bit of an oddity in town. She's a Tabaxi. There is only one Tabaxi family in the entire town. You do know, but you also recognize the other girl because she is a performer at the Dancing Tiger Inn. You guys aren't famous, but you're kind of like local famous, I guess. Does that make sense?
We have renown.
Yeah. And with them, you see this tall, muscular woman, maybe? Because she's like 6 feet tall with kind of gray skin and some, like, a handful of, like, these tattoos and scars, but not like a lot. Well, to you guys, it's like, oh my God, look at all those tattoos and all those scars. She's got a handful of bone piercings across her eyebrow. And she looks very gruff. Doesn't seem to smile a lot, whereas the other two haven't stopped smiling the entire time you see them.
It's a customer service thing.
Yeah. But you guys approach and you see these.
Hey, what are you eating?
Just kebab.
It's right there on the card. You can see it. You have a
Okay, but are they good
You
kebabs?
serve at the Dancing Tiger. You know what food is.
Well, obviously,
This
it's
was
not
lamb.
going to be as good as what we serve, but it's good.
I mean, it's food.
We can afford it.
It costs like 2 coppers. So,
Just, boys, and just goes up and buys one.
okay.
Well, she'll buy 3.
All right.
4, actually. 4.
4 of them.
She's gonna give 2 to the big one. She's not entirely certain that you
Are
aren't
they
actually
fruit
going to eat them.
kebabs or are they the meat kebabs?
The meat kebabs,
Okay.
yeah.
I would like
One
a
of
fish
these are fruit
kebab.
kebabs.
Is there fish? I would like fish.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
Here, not so much fish.
Some kind of bird.
Yes, there's lots of chicken and
things that taste like
pheasant
Mm.
and quail. So, yeah, you can have chicken if you want.
Do any of the meats, are any of them monkey?
No.
I don't want to eat something else with a tail.
Some birds have tails.
Most birds
Not
have
like
tails.
my tail though.
That's true. You have a very wonderful tail.
It is the best. I'll flick you the tail.
That's fantastic. That never gets old.
Their large friend would help us, or could scare off some of our problems.
Just eating my
Just,
kebabs.
like,
just
I already
being in
ate
the
it.
presence of this person can help us stay
You're
safe.
just like,
I already ate the kebabs and I'm going back for 3 more. not nearly enough food. I'm very large.
they are a copper a piece.
Okay.
So not super expensive. The guy kind of looks at you. To you, he's fairly small, even though he's basically roughly average size. He's about 5'8". He just kind of looks up at you. You're like way broader in the shoulder and everything than he is, and he just kind of hands you the jobs and takes your coins, and he doesn't like stop looking at you the whole time.
It's very rude to stare.
Do you get stared at a lot?
All the time.
I'm beginning to see that coming here. Where I'm from, I don't get stared at. I'm short in my cranium.
I always get stared at. Oh, because of my beautiful fur.
It's very sleek.
It is. I groom it very well.
The leg goes up.
My mom said I'm not supposed to do that in public.
She's probably right.
She usually is.
Do I know of any shows that are supposed to be going on, like, oh, there's fire dancing in the square at 6, or anything like that? Okay.
You're not that popular.
I do not want to dance with fire. I think that we should get more kebabs and that we should all go find someplace shady to sit down. Hi, I'm Aditi.
Vikram, I've seen you at the Dancing Tiger before.
They don't remember us.
I don't expect them to.
I remember people who tip well.
Definitely not us.
Would I have seen a dragonborn before?
Yeah, you've actually been attacked by the red dragonborn a few times.
Maybe that's where my dad got his claw marks on his chest from?
Now that was from a cave bear.
Oh, okay.
Which is different as opposed to a cottage bear?
There's cave bears and forest bears and mountain bears.
Okay, alright, fair
A
enough.
cave bear is essentially the prehistoric version of a grizzly bear.
So it's a
like
metatherium.
it's basically twice the size of a regular bear. Think dark brownish red polar bear.
3 times as grumpy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically a dire bear.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of be.
You do want to live through this campaign.
Be
Sorry?
eyeballing their dragonborn, just kind of side-eye and just being like a
Hi,
boss.
I'm Ruby Jill.
I don't shake your hand.
I will shake your hand.
But I do introduce myself. I'm Erin, Lonehunter of the Iron Mountain clan.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm Endora.
Hello, Endora.
Hello. And this is Aditi. She is my best friend.
No, she says that she is the lone hunter, but there are 2 more of her and they are bigger.
But she is still very big.
Let's see.
Ruby, you are, having been raised with, essentially adopted by human parents, you have never actually traveled to the city of the Red Dragonborn, which is known as Cinderwrath. It's not, you've heard of it, and you know the stories of it not being exactly the most pleasant place for outsiders to travel. There's the slave pits and stuff that are there. It's not friendly. So you have kind of grown accustomed to people not immediately basically befriending you. But you're personable enough that after a while, plus you've lived amongst humans long enough that you can pretty much win over their trust after a little bit. But you've kind of gotten accustomed to the fact that your skin tone is off-putting to new people.
It's racist.
That's the way the world works, unfortunately.
I would say it's more of a skin texture than a tone. The scales.
No, it's the red.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Because the gold, silver, and bronze and all those, they don't get the same treatment.
Yeah, but it is hard to tell the bronzes and the coppers apart.
That's true.
Some of them have more fins. So, Shade, come on, let's go.
I guess we're going with them.
Yep, let's go. Come on.
We'll find one of those alleyways where they have like the big
I don't know.
cloth scoops. And
All right, so you guys gather up a few extra kebabs, pass by a vendor that's selling some drinks inside some coconut husks, and grab those and a couple of bananas and stuff, and you begin making your way through town to one of the local parks. So there's some like large trees and stuff that kind of grow in that area. Plus there's some areas that set up kind of like temporary gazebo type setups where it's basically these long draping cloths that basically provide shade and stuff in the kind of like cleared areas between some of the trees. You go there and you see a number of people there, a lot of younger kids with their families, just kind of lounging about, trying to take advantage of the slightly cooler air that's in amongst the trees. You guys find a spot where you can basically kind of lay out on the grass a little bit and begin eating your kebabs.
this gazebo, does it look all set up?
Yes, it eats you.
Would I be having a hard time with the heat because I'm so used to the cold? Or
Yeah, the heat is not your friend.
Okay.
You are much more accustomed to being in high altitudes where it's much cooler and the air is thinner. You get lots of oxygen, that's kind of a rush, but the heat is not pleasant.
It's muggy.
Probably very sweaty.
I'm gonna take one of my scarves off that doesn't have jangling bits on it and kind of lay it out on the grass for me to sit on because otherwise I snag.
Okay.
So, who beat you guys up?
That's a good question.
Do we know of any local bullies?
How do you know I've been beat up?
Maybe they got.
Maybe I
wild
won.
guess.
Maybe I won.
Maybe he gets clumsy and walked into a door.
That's true.
That's just what he
Very
told his
hard.
mom.
Twice. Maybe 3 times.
I mean, you don't have to tell us if it was a horrible defeat. We understand.
I mean, but look at them.
What's that supposed to mean? Well, look at you.
Well,
All jingly and jangly
and with a steady
She's a
income.
really good dancer.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Plus, you don't even know her,
Things.
and you were already trying to recruit her to come and fight people for you. What kind of winners do that?
I don't think we had gotten to the recruiting part. I think we were just discussing the potential possibility of talking to her about recruiting her.
And what about this one? Did she recruit this one?
I kill a man with 3 lips.
They probably wanted
Good
to
for you.
hire her to be a bodyguard so they don't get beat up again.
Definitely smart.
So what brings you to our lovely town of Zalhan?
Oh, traveling with my parents. Are there more? They said the encampment, so I'm assuming there's more.
There's your clan is made up, or at least the portion of it that's here is made up of about 26 or so members. And it's just basically a small caravan of people that have come to basically come down
I
to
think I'm
to
gonna
do
share
trade.
that with them, because if they know that there's 26 giants out on the outskirts of town, and they're gonna run and tell someone. I don't wanna, I mean, the city probably already knows, but they seem kinda like gossipy, especially these two over here.
We just like to be informed.
Well, all I can
And to inform everyone.
yeah, I
else.
could just imagine like
That's how we
there's
get
giants in the woods and they eat people and they're gonna come out here. So, or in the jungle, I guess it would be the woods, we're surrounded by the jungle.
Yeah.
The annual market draws all types of people.
Were you selling things though,
Mhm.
the plan is?
Yeah, well, the clan is kind of on its way towards the ocean to meet up with somebody, but there's been a number of attempted raids on the clan, and they have in turn received lots and lots of loot that from people that are really stupid enough to attack a clan of Goliaths traveling along. Thus the reason why they're basically, well, there's a market thing going on. They're going to try to sell off some of the excess stuff that they've gathered up on their trip.
Okay.
Why they're going to the ocean, you're not particularly certain.
They haven't shared that with me?
No.
Okay.
So, the other ones that were with you had large things on their bags, and there was these giant teeth. What were those?
So that's from like a mammoth thing up north? No? Because you said tusk?
They're from a kind of a strange earth-dwelling beast. You guys just call it a burrower, but you don't know what other people would call it.
They're common where we live.
Somewhat common. They do live up in the mountains.
It's from an annoying beast up from where I live, and the tusks are nice to carve, so when we kill it, we eat the meat and keep the tusk and carve out of the tusk.
Oh,
We have a lot of meat to supply for my clan of Goliaths.
you seem like you would be the type to eat a lot, so it's all the muscles.
High protein diet.
Lots of protein.
You guys must be keto.
Yeah.
More paleo, really.
Running hungry chases.
Yep.
Beat it with a stick.
We're passing through and we're selling things at the market, and then we're heading towards the ocean, but it's unclear why. I'm not, they don't tell me that kind of information because I'm a younger member of the clan.
You are from the Iron Mountain going to the ocean. That is a long way to travel.
It's been a very long journey so far, and so we've the things that we're selling, we've had some raids on our clan, and they were unsuccessful on the other people's parts, and then we got to take their stuff, and now we're selling their stuff.
So you killed them and you took their things?
They
Seems
attacked
fair,
us.
though.
They threatened my family, and they attacked us. So we attacked them back, and we won.
Anything good?
They don't tell me, but they got.
You've gotten a few pieces, you know, because, well, you fight with them when you get attacked. So you've gotten a few little bits, a pouch with a handful of coins in it. Amongst the tribe, you don't really have much need for gold because it's kind of a barter system. You do something and then you get your share of whatever is there. But you do trade with other clans and stuff, but so you have a few coins in a pouch. You picked up a silver and gold bracelet. It's like a twisted coiled snake bracelet that's made out of silver and gold, kind of woven together to create this serpent with like little jade eyes. And you have a necklace of teeth, some sort of local beast, you're guessing, but it's but the little teeth are basically
Non-human.
have little carvings and stuff into them,
Cool.
and it's on like a little silver chain.
You keep saying you're younger. As I'm looking out.
Yeah, when I'm fully grown, I'll be the size of my mother. She's
Huge.
Very big.
13 years old.
I am 14,
What's
so
an
I am
arm,
older.
arms and like. I give up.
I am also 13.
And so you four live here, but you do not.
I do not
And
know.
what are you doing here?
I'm traveling over experience.
What kind of experience?
Just experience in the world to bring back to my parents.
Are you trying to find yourself?
How old
I've
are you?
heard people do that.
I am 13, but that is close to adulthood for my kind.
Oh, that makes good sense. If I tried to leave the house and go out and find myself, my mother would beat me with a shoe.
It was my suggestion. They did not want me to go.
Sorry, I'm just picturing your mother chasing you around with a
Dead
sandal.
slipper. It jiggles. It's got like a little curved toe.
You could lose an eye with
Why do you think it's scary? That's why I haven't left home to find myself.
You find yourself in your room.
You'll have to forgive me if I seem off-put by you. The Red Dragonborn clan has attacked my clan, and I'm not sure if you're part of them or...
No, not at all. I get that a lot. I'm sorry if I may be off-putting. I try my hardest to be polite and kind on first encounters.
This polite and kind and manners thing is something we'll have to work on. So.
Yeah, you're kind of rude.
She does not have the best people skills.
They don't
But
hold
at
anything
least
back.
you don't have claws.
We're not working right now. We don't have to be nice.
All right, at this point, you see Sooraj is sitting there and he's kind of talking and laughing, and all of a sudden this rotten piece of papaya just slams right in his face. And you hear some laughing from a group of people off to one side.
Am I
You look-
sitting or standing?
Vikram, they're back.
It's up to you.
I'm probably sitting, so they didn't notice how big I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a piece of like fruit can just slaps right in your face, and it kind of gets a little bit in your eye, and it stings a little bit. And you hear this girl laughing off to one side, and with these two other boys. The group of you look over and you see this girl, probably 15, 16 years old, kind of has a kind of a cruel smirk on her face. And then there's two other kids about her age standing kind of slightly behind her. Two larger boys, both of them kind of dirty, mussed hair, cheap clothing, but she's dressed in the absolute best clothes. all of you, well, except for the two down there at the end of the table, immediately recognize her. She is the youngest daughter of the wealthiest family in town.
And there is your answer.
Oh,
she
got
beat
the
you up?
little.
No,
No, reach into
the
the
bullets.
fold of my outfit, pull out one of my bus rags,
Okay.
pull it in, oh, dab, 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 and sell it, leave it on your arm.
You
For
have
you
to
to-
spit on it first to get it.
Kamari looks at you too. Is like, oh, so I see you found some more losers to hang out with.
Did you hear what she just called you?
Do you know these people?
Very well.
They're what
They throw
did.
fruit at your face.
Yeah.
That's one thing, she's hot shit, and the other two are idiots.
At this point, I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna start staring at them. I'm not gonna say anything, I'm just gonna keep staring at them.
All right. Give me a charisma check.
Okay.
If it's an intimidation, you can you? No. You're even on it.
Yeah. What would I add?
No, it's
No.
even. It's you're with your charisma. It's a 0. So.
Oh, okay. So 11?
11. So she doesn't like even flinch, but one of the guys just slightly behind her is like kind of taken back a little bit and sees that his other two counterparts haven't done anything, so he just straightens up and crosses his arms and does the thing where he kind of puffs out.
Now you do it. Now you stand up and stare at them.
Oh, playing into your plan.
She's like, so feeling brave?
I'm not afraid of you.
Do you see
Good.
how tall she is?
I don't care how tall she is.
You
She's
should
a
leave them
giant.
alone. They
I
haven't
own
done
this
anything
town.
to you.
You think you own this town. Your parents may own this town. You own nothing.
Well, if you're so brave, why don't you meet us at the cemetery tonight? See how brave you really are.
Fine, we'll be there. What time?
Midnight.
Apparently we're
Done.
going to the cemetery.
We're going to the cemetery.
I might.
Why are we
might
at work?
And she kind of turns and looks at the other two boys. Is like, come on, they won't be there. They're cowards. And they walk off.
I will be there with red wine to pour all over her ugly dress.
I will scratch it.
Who? Who is that?
That is Miss Karami Rajambi.
I've never been in a real fight before.
Her parents own the diamond mines in the area,
Diamonds are passing.
and then her two stooges are
So
Jakar and
funny.
Tamish.
They're the ones that have been making our lives hell for the past few days,
Yeah.
A few weeks.
a month, few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't particularly know why they selected you guys, but yeah, they pretty much focused
It's
on
a
it.
recent thing, and
I'm not sure what we did, but
it's possible we just happen to be standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're like, it's them.
They were probably just born.
Also,
And
they're
you're easy
stupid.
targets.
You calling them stupid? Or
They are stupid.
Oh, it's funny to be.
You might be stupid.
We don't know them very well, so they could be
You could
stupid.
be, but we are giving them the benefit of the doubt. And thinking that
And we
those two
feel
are
sorry
definitely
for them.
stupid.
Do you guys want help in the cemetery?
I don't know what they're going to have us do in a cemetery.
Probably would push us into a grave.
they're gonna throw more fruit.
I do like
It
fruit.
will be dark, so they are less likely to hit us.
Maybe they just think we're superstitious and, it's spooky and
Well, it is spooky. There's dead people there.
they're dead. They're not going to do anything.
It's just
I have heard some
Maybe.
stories where the dead were very, very mean. I think that our dead would be mostly farmers, honestly.
They might poke you with their poking devices.
Well, and it doesn't just say they were buried with them.
They could be.
All these farmers were buried with 10-foot poles.
Maybe they keep them all in one place.
You can't go to the afterlife unless you pass through, a place with traps. You have to check it.
So, Are we bringing rocks tonight to throw at them?
We should bring rotten fruit.
Vegetables are harder.
That's true. I don't know if I have good aim.
We'll bring lots.
Have to practice throwing rocks and food.
So, do you guys hang out together through the remainder of the day, or do you wind up kind of going your separate ways to meet up together later? What is your plan?
I've been really contemplating putting this ring on.
I know, I guess.
We should all go together. We should all go look at some booths together. I have some acquaintances.
I'm gonna
That'd
put
be
it.
fun.
You're gonna put the ring on? Any bench.
I put the ring on
You
finally.
put the ring on, and it's a ring.
Maybe I should have worn it before so I would have got hit in the head with fruit.
You see him put
How
on
would
a
the
copper
ring
ring.
stop you from getting hit by fruit?
There was a very nice red-headed lady who said that it would bring us better luck with these rings.
Oh, you already have better luck. You have us.
I'm probably gonna peel off from the group because I've had enough
Social interaction.
happy chatter. And I'm going to
Scamper
swing,
after her.
Oh,
and I'm probably gonna turn around and kind of growl at you. And I'll tell you guys, I'll meet you at the cemetery. I'm gonna go home, or go to the encampment though and see if there's any like daggers or anything that I could probably get or.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There-
Because
there are
would I
a number.
have one with me if I'm just exploring the city?
You might. Your parents didn't really carry any weapons with them. That they figured that most of the small folk are already intimidated enough by them.
Yeah.
If they were carrying around their weapons.
So I'm gonna go back to, I'll explain nicely and say, please don't follow me. I'm going to my encampment to go get a weapon. I'll meet you back.
I should have a weapon too.
I can bring you one.
You should.
I should come pick it out.
You're making her uncomfortable. Stop it. You should come to
They
the
might
inn when you come back to town,
She said she doesn't.
so that we
look
can show you how to get to the graveyard.
Her parents might. They're bigger.
I don't,
I
I honestly,
even see them.
I
He doesn't
don't, I
know.
don't know what,
You might.
I don't
You
know what
said they
the
were
plan
bigger
would
than
be.
her.
So, I need some space.
I will go
There's
stand
too much.
elsewhere.
Too much tacky.
Flashing madly.
So you slip off back to the encampment, and as you get there, you see a number of hide tents kind of set up, and some Goliaths going about daily tasks, preparing food, keeping campfires going, that kind of thing. Some of them are just kind of on watch because your herd is pretty much always on guard. Why it's one of the reasons why it's always kind of foolish for random bandits to try to attack you guys. That and well, your Goliaths. But you kind of go back in and you see your mother's over, and she's got a long pole, and she's currently working on fastening a long, slightly curved blade to the end of it.
I'll walk up and, how do Goliaths greet each other? Just walk up. Like, can I be like,
Bro thump.
"Hi."
Head bonk.
Right.
Arm chain. Not
No,
high
you just-
five,
Like regular people.
Well, I returned.
Oh, did you learn anything interesting?
I met a talking cat.
That is very interesting.
She
Was it the one that we saw in the market?
Yes.
And it spoke to you.
They continued to
She
follow
reaches
me.
out and kind of checks your forehead.
That's
She's-
super suspicious too.
Kinda.
It's a black cat.
I don't think we'd be superstitious being in the mountains. I think we'd just be.
It depends. You guys have superstitions, but it's usually kind of related to things more into the mountains.
Yeah. Big scary bear monsters
Yeah.
and such. I learned some things. There's a family in town that basically controls everything because they own the diamond mine, and their daughter's a really horrible person.
Mm.
They asked me for help with bullies, so I was gonna go help them out.
Interesting. You're probably too young to remember, but a few years ago there was a young would-be warrior that was a little bit of a bully. You probably kind of looks over towards the tent. He was we call him now Thrice Broken, but at one time he thought himself quite the bully.
Yeah. So,
You know Thrice Broken. He actually kind of walks with a limp
Okay.
because
Who broke him?
I did.
Oh. Come on.
Thrice.
Well, I hate a bully, so I'm gonna go help these humans and a cat, and there's a red dragonborn with them also.
She kind of, her brow kind of furrows a little bit. She's like, "Be wary. The red scales can be treacherous."
Yeah, I'm just kind of checking them all out. But I had to take a break. A couple of them were very talkative, very bubbly.
Mm.
I needed some peace and quiet.
She's kind of,
And some weapons.
well, take something small. You know the humans, they are a jumpy lot.
It would be last resort. I mean, I'm not intimidated by them.
She
But
just kind of nods towards the tent.
I'll go that way, and I'll nod at her and go that way. I'll find a few daggers
And
probably.
you slip into the tent, and there's like your bedroll and your pack, and in the back of the tent there's like a shield, a spear, a couple of bows, a great axe, a maul, and about 8 daggers. That's just the family weapons.
I'll probably take 4 of them. I wouldn't really think that. Oh, the cat wanted one. I don't know if I trust the cat with one.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, technically they don't belong to you. They're yours to take, but
They're communal
yeah.
for the clan.
I'll take 3.
Okay. Meanwhile, what are the other 5 of you doing?
Is there any place in the area that I would think a red dragonborn would find interesting?
One that's easily wowed.
Well, I don't know you're easily wowed, so.
There is the Gold Bazaar. It's basically a section of the market that has a number of gold and jewelry shops and stuff like that. You know, everybody has that idea in their head that, you know, dragons, they have hoards. Dragonborn probably have a similar appetite for gold and jewels. So there's a section of the market that has a relatively large jewelry market basically inside of it. It's only about 8 different shops, but it's got a lot of different stuff in it.
It's a lot for this town.
Yeah, for the size of the town, it's actually
Yeah.
quite a bit.
I think you should check out the Gold Bazaar. Here, follow us. Do you breathe fire?
I do, I don't do it much.
Cool.
I'm not going to demonstrate it for you.
Oh,
You could do it in the graveyard. I'm sure that would scare somebody away.
Get even hotter.
Alright, so you guys make your way into the Gold Bazaar, and you see a number of small shops that's kind of set up in a rough circle, all facing a fairly small but nice looking fountain that's in the very center of it. There are red and gold silk drapes that basically kind of come out and create like this circle of shade around the outside edge of or basically the middle of this circle, with a slight opening just above the fountain. So it tends to be nice and cool. The fountain kind of adds a little bit of moisture to the air. A nice breeze kind of comes through, and the shade kind of keeps the heat of the sun out. Through the various windows, you see that on these rods there are gold chains silver chains. There's displays of various cut and uncut gemstones, bracelets, also kind of basically like a long rod with like bangle style bracelets that are just like covering these rods. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gold piece value worth of jewelry. In one of the shops there, it seems to specialize mostly in just gemstones instead of like the actual jewelry themselves. So there's like displays with different sized diamonds and rubies, emeralds, sapphires, some opals, just kind of set up on these displays and set at just the right angle with mirrors and stuff to kind of reflect the sunlight to cause them to sparkle and everything. It's cascading light all around. There is also another shop that seems to specialize primarily in exchanging coin. They have gold and platinum and silver coins, and also in bar form. Like, so if you're exchanging large amounts of coin, you could take it in the form of a bar of platinum or a bar of gold, and so on and so forth. And you see there's a number of people actually at that particular merchant, various merchants exchanging coins for things that are easier to transport than, say, thousands of copper.
Hashtag adventurers.
But you see the bunch of people kind of moving around and doing different things.
I want to find a merchant that is selling anklets, preferably with bells on them.
There are 3 different shops in the gold market there that you can find that at.
Are these all permanent shops or are they temporary for the?
These are permanent shops. They seem to have brought out extra merchandise for the current festival, I guess you could say.
Are any
But generally speaking, these are all permanent shops.
are
They
any of the,
have iron shutters and stuff that they use to close up the shops at night.
That's hardcore. Are any of them regulars to the Dancing Tiger?
There is one, Mahara. Mahara is a local woman. She's quite old, but she fancied herself a dancer of some renown back in the day. And now she sells now she crafts and sells jewelry primarily for dancing for like temple ceremonies and just general performance. She also sells a number of, I forget what the little,
Ting-tings.
yeah, the little clacky things.
Finger symbols.
Yeah, finger symbols, and then of course there's some like tambourines and just different metal musical instruments of varying types.
Okay. On the way into the gold bazaar, then I want to pick up like from one of the coconut vendors like a fruit juice or the drink that I know she likes.
Okay. Yeah, she comes in quite a bit, so you know what her standard drink is.
So I'm gonna get one of those and be like, let's go to this one over here.
So you step inside, and it's a relatively small room, about the size of this room here for the entirety of the shop. But the walls all have just cluttered with musical instruments, jewelry, dancing scarves, outfits that are just completely decked out in gold and silver and jewels. Just a variety of different things. And you see this kind of hunched, shorter, older lady in the very, very back, and she's kind of sitting on a large pillow, and she's got like a number of bowls kind of sit around her, but each one has little rings, some of them gold, silver, and stuff like that, and she's got some tools out. She's slowly working them together to create patterns of silver and gold with little bits of coins and everything, basically making an outfit, a dancing outfit.
You said her name is Mahara.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, hello.
Ah, hello, my lovelies.
I brought you a drink.
Mm.
It's so hot today.
It is so hot today. Luckily, and she kind of fans herself a little bit, it's not so bad in here.
You have a lovely shop.
you, thank you. She takes the drink and she sips it. It's missing a little something, but it's fine.
It is still, the day is young.
It's true, it is far too early in the day to be drinking those types of drinks.
So I have been given a little bit of coin from the extra work from the festival,
Mhm.
and I am looking to get a new dancing bracelet
Oh.
for my ankle, an anklet with bells.
Oh, of course. Go look right over there. There are dozens.
And I will go over and I will find one that is within my price range.
Okay, you find a couple of different ones. There is one that kind of stands out to you, as it is actually it has like the little bells. You know, the ones that are kind of like a clam shape that has like a little ball inside.
Yeah.
Only the bells are shaped like little tigers. And it's little gold tigers on a silver chain.
I need this one. Oh goodness.
It's 20 gold though.
Not for me.
So how many more days are left of the festival?
The actual
The bazaar.
the actual bazaar starts in 2 days.
Okay, so it hasn't quite started up just yet.
Yeah. And right now it's just people coming into town for the most part.
I'm gonna.
Maybe we can put a down payment.
That's what I want to do.
I will give you my 5 gold.
Well, don't keep some for your fun. But I'm going to see if she will let me put down some money. Just hold. Look at that little tigers.
You have to have it.
So I'm gonna go back over to Mahara.
Okay.
My friend,
Yes.
this one is perfect.
Ah, yes. I made that thinking about the dancing tiger.
I don't have 20 gold yet, but I have 4 gold, and I will make more money during this festival. And if you could do me the favor of taking my 4 gold and holding this, just don't sell it to anyone else.
I trust you. Besides, Savin owes me a favor.
Oh.
And if you put in a good word for me, maybe with Savin, I will let you take the anklet, you give me your 4 gold, and then you can give me the rest once you have it.
As I earn it, I will be here each day.
It is a promise.
And it's
Dancing.
And wish we have an adventure. Bye.
Go. Get out of my shop. I am so busy today.
all right.
Remember, I want a
Good word.
special meal with Savin. She's like, he is so handsome.
It's good to be. It's not beyond him. You should buy something. Look at all her stuff. And then I will go stand outside the shop.
Okay.
I forgot something. I will go back in and I am going to give her 2 gold towards the bracelet.
Oh, okay. She's like, you are a good friend.
I'm the best.
I'm gonna stand outside the shop and I'm gonna put on my new anklet and then I'm gonna practice one of my dances outside of the shop, testing how it affecting the
Give
jingles
me a
and stuff.
performance check.
That's not great. Let's see, 10 altogether. I'm still
Put it all
working on
together.
the
Is that counting your proficiency?
And I'm gonna roll a 7.
Okay, so it's not terrible, but it is a new dance.
So I'll have to figure out how to work the jingles into the beat,
Yeah.
of which there is none because there's no music here.
Right.
Try to cut my hands for you.
But I, with a certain
I get
laughing,
fast
does that give
and
me
forward.
advantage?
You have already rolled.
Okay. Next time.
Yes. Next time if she beatboxes for you.
We've been practicing. We're gonna pull the string game.
All right. So now what are you guys doing?
What time is it now?
It's about 2 in the afternoon.
We have quite a bit of time before our duel.
Do you guys have
That's
to
how
go
I
back
look
to the inn to work though?
In the evening.
Later
So you
today.
guys work. You just work early evening shifts. You guys are too young to work the late night shifts.
probably be inappropriate for us.
When
to
the red
jump
light
in.
turns on.
We need to be back in time for the dinner rush. But that still gives us a few hours.
So the 5 of you spend the next 3-4 hours just kind of hanging out together, walking around, looking at different things at the more exotic vendors, before eventually splitting up and going your separate ways. You need to find yourself a place to stay for the evening. So you follow these two back to the Dancing Tiger, which they tell you is the best inn in the entirety of the town. It is only one of 2 inns, however, but they assure you that the Dancing Tiger is the best inn in town. So you go ahead and travel back with them. Plus they're familiar faces, so it makes it a little bit easier. And you go into this kind of a squat-looking building at first. But as you go in, there's like a series of steps that kind of go down so that the building itself is about half underground. So there's like some slightly round, kind of ovalish windows that are at roughly ground level from the outside, but once you get inside, they're basically at head height. But because it's lower in the ground like this, it tends to be cooler. There is a fire pit that's in the very center of this large room, but that is currently out because they don't need the heat. And then there's like a kind of a slightly curved bar off to one side with just dozens and dozens of bottles of different types of liquors and alcohols and stuff like that. Just a rainbow of colors of the glass and bottles. Hanging from the ceiling is just a myriad of like silken like draperies and curtains. The place is almost garish in the amount of gold and brass inlay that's polished up to look as close to gold as possible. And in the very, very back, there is a large table that sits up on a almost like a slightly raised platform, large, long, oval table. And on either side of it is a large, very awkwardly carved statues of tigers in doing some sort of dance. Just one on each end of the table, and there's like a row of chairs that's back behind the table that kind of faces out into a large open area where you see a number of dancers currently performing a very spectacularly choreographed dance. There's some drums and there's some people playing the sham and a few other instruments, and these men and women are just dancing and singing. And it looks like the greatest Bollywood spectacle you could have possibly dreamt of, as they are dancing around and just having a grand time. There are probably 24 people currently in this seating area, a lot fewer than you saw during the lunch rush, but still quite a few people. And they're kind of enjoying the food and the atmosphere and the music and everything. And you get yourself a room. You guys set off into the back to basically prepare yourselves for a couple hours of work. You two kind of go your separate ways. You go find to where you've basically been living, which is kind of it's not really an abandoned house per se. It's more like somebody's shed in the garden that you basically kind of rent out by doing a handful of chores around the house and stuff to kind of earn your keep. But it's large enough that you can kind of go in. There's like there's a cot off to one side, and then there's like the garden tools that basically take up the wall on the other side. And there's like a single window. It doesn't have glass or anything in it. It's got some shutters that you close when it's raining, and otherwise it's open to let some air in. But you kind of go in there and you kind of clean yourself up and get some rest for the evening's activities. While you go home and your mother's like, my boy, you've been gone all day. Come here. And she kisses you on the forehead. And she's like, you're filthy. What have you been doing? Go get cleaned up for dinner.
Yes, mother. I gotta shuffle off
and as you're kind of walking through, your 3 older siblings kind of jostle you, like in kind of a roughhousing kind of play. He's like, so you've been out with girls today?
There were a couple.
Sure there were, and one of them kind of punches
One
you
of
in
them was
the arm.
6 foot tall.
Then at that, they actually kind of get interested, and you sit down and you kind of tell them about the strangers that you met today. And they're actually pretty interested in all that. Normally, they don't really mess with you much. A couple of them are considerably older than you. They kind of treat you like a little kid, while one of them is a little bit closer to your age,
Yeah.
but old enough to where they don't want to hang out with you. You're the annoying little brother, basically.
Yeah.
But they listen to your story, and they're pretty excited to hear about the fact that you met like a dragonborn, and then of course there's this giant woman that you met, and then you start telling them about the tabaxi, you tell them about Endora and Aditi.
Which I'm sure they've probably seen at the Dancing Tiger if if any of them go there.
Although they don't really believe that you were hanging out with Aditi and Endora, because that's
Because we are hot shit.
Half that's true.
But you kind of after that, you kind of clean yourself up for dinner, and you sit down for a meal with your mom, dad, and your 3 siblings, just kind of hanging out. Very loving, warm, happy family environment where nothing will ever go wrong.
Nope.
About several hours later, the sun has set. The crowds have kind of started to settle down a little bit. A few of the vendors are still out, mostly like food vendors and stuff. They're taking advantage of those that have been partaking in the revelries in the Dancing Tiger, and of course the other inn, the inn that shall not be named.
Ever.
Is that what it's called? That would be great.
That's where all the Potterheads go.
Maybe we'll put a sign up that says that. Closed.
But a little bit before midnight, about a half hour or so, you two kind of make your way out to where you agreed to meet up with everybody. Once you get there, you find your Goliath friend, Lonehunter, is already there and kind of waiting, just enjoying the quiet of the evening. You bring Ruby with you because she was staying at the inn. You basically go up, knock on Ruby's door, and just kind of bring them along. You don't have to sneak out or anything, so you just kind of, when it gets to be time, you make your way there. Whereas you have to try to stealth your way out of your house because it's late, it's nighttime.
Would I be out there to pick him up at his house, or not going in there as well?
That's up to you. Is that where you want to go?
Sure, I'll be outside waiting for him to come.
And I'll make sure that I have gone through my collection of clothes to find whatever the darkest is that I have, which is probably not a whole lot, but
So you're standing outside one of the nicer houses in the town. You wouldn't really consider it like one of the wealthy families, but definitely upper middle class. His father is a fairly successful merchant, and his mother is a very successful and one of the more popular physicians in the town. Like actual practical medicine, not like magical healing and stuff like that. So like an actual doctor.
Okay.
Not a witch doctor.
But you go there and you're kind of waiting, and there's like a low stone wall about 6 feet tall that runs around most of the property, and there's like a handful of like fruit trees and stuff in there. You see a monkey kind of lingering near one of the fruit trees at the top of the wall, just kind of watching you. So.
all right. So I'm gonna try and sneak out.
All right, you gonna go out your window? You gonna try to like, go because you're on the second floor
Okay.
of your house in the kind of the back corner.
Is there like any balconies or like trestles?
There is a tree outside your window that is somewhat good for climbing. But generally speaking, you don't really have a balcony. You know your parents' room has a balcony, but it's kind of around to the back side of the house. So your window faces out this way, whereas theirs faces kind of towards the back of the room.
If I leave through the house itself going downstairs, how many like other rooms with people sleeping in it would I pass? Roughly.
Yours is actually at the first room at the top of the stairs. So you're not likely, you won't be passing by anybody else's rooms. But at the same time, you don't know who might be awake downstairs in the living area. You could creep out and check if you like.
Yeah, I'll do that. Since I'm assuming that if I was gonna get up and get a drink of water or anything, I'd have to go downstairs anyway.
Yeah.
So I could play it off if
Yeah.
I need to.
Alright, so you kind of slowly open your door and kind of peer outside. You see from under the door of your eldest brother, you see a little bit of light kind of flickering out through there. Not surprising, he's a little bit of a night owl. But you don't see any lights, any lantern light or anything coming from downstairs. So you kind of creep over to the balcony and peer down into kind of the living space, and you don't see anybody down there.
Alright, I'll just try and do that then instead of trying to be
Alright,
tricky.
so give me a stealth check.
Alright. That'll be a 14.
Alright, so you creep down the stairs, across this large rug that's in the middle of the room, so it kind of helps pad your steps easily enough, and you get over to the door. You turn the knob, and it creaks just a little bit as the door opens, but not very loudly. You hear a little bit of a movement upstairs, so you pause, you wait, but nobody comes downstairs or anything, so you slip out the door, close it behind you, and quickly make your way out to the front gate area and into the street.
Alright.
You made it out.
Of course. Wouldn't expect anything less. Alright, let's.
I should probably hurry. I'm not hanging out here. That monkey's gonna tell me.
It's free.
Alright, so the six of you meet up in the park area where you guys were having your little picnic lunch and gather your things. What do you got? Do you have any preparations you want to make before you head towards the cemetery?
I'm going to bring a lantern, but it's one of the lanterns from the Dancing Lion, so it's this super
Tiger.
gaudy, Dancing Tiger, so it's got like this super gaudy like embellishments on it, and little glass beads, so it has little like beams of color that come off of it. But overall, it does work as a lantern.
Okay.
It's a light sword.
You just named
The Dancing Lion versus the Dancing Tiger.
I have a big rock on you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll start picking rocks up out of the dirt, and I'm gonna basically like shoving them into like a makeshift like stash pouch.
Alright, so you put about 6 or 7 rocks into a pouch.
Who here has been in a fight before, can use weapons? Is anyone,
We've been in fights before.
Yeah.
who can use weapons?
You don't
I
know
love
why
my
did
bracelet.
you weren't there.
I'm assuming because.
Nobody raises their hand.
Alright, I'm just gonna keep my daggers then. Last thing I want is them cutting their limbs off.
Wait, I show you my claws. Do these count?
Well, yeah. Would you like to try a dagger?
No, I'll stick with these.
Okay.
I might hurt myself.
Honestly, it's not worth it.
She's like, don't make me break out the claws.
These bad boys, the only thing keeping them back.
I worked on sharpening them earlier today.
Little file.
Carbon.
Then I start polishing them.
Mom yells at you for clawing on the couch.
You're kidding now.
Just kidding.
Squirting at me.
Alright, so with that, you guys begin making your way through the dark streets. Your only light source at this point is this gaudy little lantern that's not really designed to provide actual light.
It sets
It's
the
most
mood.
it's mostly there as a kind of a display piece that kind of gives out like light a little bit, like a little tea light lantern. But you begin making your way towards the cemetery. As you exit out of the city walls themselves, you kind of follow this narrow path that leads into the thicker portion of the jungle where it hasn't really been completely cut away and it's grown back fairly quickly, what little it has. And you hear animals and things moving through the brush. You see some of the monkeys sleeping up in some of the nearby trees. You pass by and you see large constrictor snakes in one tree that just kind of curled up and kind of a little less mobile in the cooler evening than it would be during the nice warm day. But then you come across the kind of rusted iron gate that marks the entrance into the cemetery itself, beyond which you see a number of crypts and mausoleums that are set up, some gravestones that are just kind of marking in the grave grounds, plus a handful of above ground little sarcophagi that basically litter the landscape. There are trees that kind of grow up in between most of these buildings, but for the most part it's all kind of cut back to allow people access to the interior of it. But there's a heavy iron chain currently around the bars of this iron gate that leads into the cemetery. The cemetery wall is a stone, kind of a clay brick wall with a mud stucco slathered around the outside of it, and it's been whitewashed. It's about 8 feet tall, with another ring of short iron spikes that go around the top of it. How would you guys like to try to enter the cemetery?
I'm gonna go check out the gate and the chains and see how strong they are.
They're fairly hefty. I mean, we're not talking like trying to keep prisoners or animals in or anything like that, but
How wide are the bars?
they're about a foot or so apart.
Okay.
You're not really certain you could break the chain.
What about kicking it, like kicking the gate?
It's possible, but it would probably also be very loud. You don't know if there's a caretaker or anything outside.
Would there be a shed for like supplies for maintaining the yard and things like that?
Yeah, but it's inside.
Okay, how far from the gate is it?
You're kind of looking, you can see kind of a cobblestone path that kind of winds its way out about maybe 50 or so feet to like a central area that's got a fountain. It's more like a pool or whatever. There's no flowing water, but there's like a pool with a statue in the center of it of a tall gentleman with long, broad wings that kind of hang down over his side. He's got a hood that kind of comes up over his head.
And the garden shed is near
Have
there?
you been
Yeah, it's
practicing
kind of on the other side.
opening locks?
No, I don't have anything for that.
Can a cat get through the bars to go to the tool shed?
Mm-hmm.
I think we could fit.
I will go over and try to squeeze through the bars.
Yeah, you pretty easily fit through bars.
I got through.
I'm going to follow.
I mean, there's like a 3 foot tall by 1 foot wide section because it's got crossbars that you just basically like right on through. It doesn't really hinder you at all.
Do I know if there's any areas of the fence or that are broken?
You don't think so. You've not really come to the cemetery very much, but there are trees that kind of like grow pretty much right up against the wall of the cemetery.
I'm gonna find something to climb and just drop down on the other side of it.
Wait, I can fly.
I can give people boosts into the trees.
Well, I mean, it's a foot wide. I think you
I
and
can
I
fly.
could actually.
We
I
could
forgot,
re-
I don't play Dragonborn with wings that much.
I'm saying the four of us could probably fit through the bars. It's
Pretty easily,
Yeah.
actually.
it's.
If the bars look like they'd be wide enough to fit me through, I'd just squeeze my way through.
You
Yeah,
said there's
it's
a tree.
easily.
There's a tree nearby.
You
Yeah.
can fly.
Can you climb trees?
Yes, I have very good
Some
athletic
some-
ability.
Some big
Alright.
people can't climb over trees, so.
So the four of you, like, simply slip through the bars and into the cemetery. You kind of unfurl your wings and just kind of go up and over and land on the other side easily enough.
I need to
You
do
make your
this.
way over, kind of looking around. You find a tree that looks sturdy enough for you. Reach up and start climbing it. So give me an athletics check.
Damn.
No.
Maybe I'm not athletic. Do I get any bonuses to that?
Yes, you're proficient, so that's a +2, and then you get your strength modifier,
Which is
which I
also
think is also a
+2.
+2.
So 6.
Roll the 2. Roll the 2.
So you're trying to climb up it, but you're not used to the weird jungle trees, and you kind of grab hold of one of them, and it kind of bends down a little bit. That one's too rubbery, and you kind of look around a little bit, and you're having a little bit of trouble.
I'm gonna go back out through the gate with the lantern.
Okay.
Be like, Lonehunter, where are you?
You see her off over to one side, kind of shaking her head at a tree as she's got like a chunk of branch in her hands. She just kind of tosses it on the ground.
No, not that one, not that one. And I will take her and I will help her find a tree that is sturdy enough to hold her.
All right, so she's gonna roll again with advantage
Because now
because
she can
Aditi
see
is
what
trying to
she's
help.
Alright, so.
You can roll again.
Wow.
That first one was better.
Okay, so 16.
Yeah, so she takes you around to one side and she takes you to one of the more sturdy types of jungle trees that you easily climb up onto, and it has a branch that kind of goes just over the wall a little bit. So you kind of balance your way out to there and then just drop down to the other side.
I don't want to walk back to the gate by myself, so I will also climb the tree and go over the wall.
Athletics.
10.
Alright, so you're like climbing it, jingling the whole way. Jingling, jingling. You don't quite get up on top of the limb. You're just kind of like holding onto it and kind of monkey your way across underneath the limb. And then,
Like a jingly ass pinata. Jing, 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 jing.
as you get to the other side, you kind of let your legs go and you're kind of dangling there and you drop and you fall on your butt a little bit and you get up and dust yourself off.
It's very jingly while it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Let's
are
go
not
find
a
the
sneaky
others.
person.
No. People can't give you tips if they can't see you.
And dead things can find you when they can hear you.
The things are all buried.
So you begin making your way through the cemetery and you see a number of headstones, some very elaborate, some simple, but you're keeping your eyes open, looking for the people you were supposed to be meeting here in the cemetery. And then once you get to the pool, like I was describing before, the pool with the statue in the center of it, as you get over there you hear a, "Oh, so you did show up. Color me surprised."
I don't think that's an actual color.
Good one.
Well, I know what color you guys are going to be here in a little bit. And you see her step out. She's got like a little club, and there two lackeys step out. You guys are going to be black and blue.
And throw a rock at her. Start this shit.
Throw a rock.
Maybe you can.
Not proficient.
I'm not proficient in rock. That is a 9.
So you throw the rock at it. You hear it like land off out in the bushes and everything. And she's like, "That was pathetic."
There's more
Get
where
it on.
that came from.
Make roll initiative.
The Dragonborn's like, I should have stayed home.
Which is great.
So it's
What's
add
your
dexterity.
dex modifier, which...
How do you know what your modifiers are?
So for you, it'd be a +1.
You've got a
Great,
-1.
What?
Yeah.
11 is +1.
No, 12 is
that's
+1.
zero.
11
is zero.
is 0?
11 0.
What
Is
the?
that 10?
10 is 0. Basically, every 2, it goes up on the even numbers.
And
Eight is a
intelligence
-1.
is,
6 is -2.
oh crap. And then,
Your strength is +2.
I'm really strong and stupid.
Okay, I'm not smart.
Me smash things.
Well, everybody started with the same base stats, just in
different
slightly different
spots.
areas. And of course with their whatever modifiers and stuff.
The racial.
Sooraj.
So,
I have 6.
6. 6. They're done.
15.
Ruby.
8.
Vikram.
16.
Endora.
14.
Bratty Princess.
13.
Nameless Thugs.
They're not nameless.
No, they are to me.
They actually go on 19.
Ooh,
Oh.
let's go first.
Alright, there they go.
Alright, so the 2 boys come running forward, and just to kind of give us an idea, we should probably put some sort of markers out on the map so we know where everybody's at.
Here. I got beads, John.
Okay.
You can do the red one. Obviously. You can be that black one, Erin, in case you have, you know, the Goliath thing going on. Oh, you've got miniatures. How disappointing.
I don't have many, like, accurate miniatures, but I do have some miniatures for you guys, and you can use beads for the thuggy people.
No, it's a lady with a sword.
That's me.
I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be me.
Whoever those guys are going to
Well, I don't know, because no, this is a chick with who's floating and reading a book.
be. They are just miniatures for you.
Okay. Well, this one's really tall, so you can be that one.
I'll be the tall one.
Do you want the one with the cowboy hat?
There you go. I could have a stick.
There we go.
She looks super bored with this book.
I guess this.
It's not a real page turner.
So what else do we have?
John's like, just pick a flippin' miniature.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
do we have another boy mini? Because we are
So
lacking one boy.
But
Here you go, Ian.
This one will probably be closer to the dragon. Dwarves and dragons, they're similar, right?
Alright, so huddle you guys selves together in the middle, in whatever order you want. Put the 3 other people over this way, 30 feet. So 6 squares.
The princess is gonna be the white thug, the white one because she's shiny, and these 2 are the thugs.
So are they 36 inches away?
36 inches?
6 inches, 30 feet.
Okay.
we're not gonna maim any of these kids tonight.
I hope we are.
Alright,
Rita's
so,
already thrown a rock.
Yeah.
so
I've
the,
cast the first stone.
so the 2 thugs run forward. They go to straight, yep, to there and then to there. They are both going to swing at the really big woman with a dagger because she's the she's one of the 2 scariest ones.
High father's.
Really cute.
So what is your armor class is 10 plus whatever your dexterity modifier is?
9. So my.
So 10.
Doesn't go under 10.
Oh,
So they will both hit you,
okay.
and they each do 2 points of damage.
So I only have 6 hit points right now?
Yep. I've got 3. So.
So they run up and just like start whacking on you with these makeshift clubs. Who's next?
After the thugs, it is Vikram, sorry.
One's right in front of me. I want to try and get the club from him. So that would be.
Athletics.
Athletics?
So it's grappling,
Yeah.
basically.
All right. Let's see what happens here.
Oh!
Natural 20. With the.
So and you reach out and grab hold of the club and you yank real hard and it slides right out of his hand.
Now beat him with it.
That was his action.
It's like, now I have the club.
Mirnan.
So you went for this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for this one. And I don't wanna stab him, because I'm not a killer.
Alright.
Like, not of little kids.
Yeah.
They just have a
Not
club.
totally.
Yeah, so can I hit them with like the backs, like the, or in my other hand, just punch them?
Yeah, you can just punch them or kick them or you can.
Yeah.
What do I wanna do?
Take their club and beat them with it.
Let's probably like knock them on top of his head.
Okay.
Oh.
So what would my,
It would be
Strength
plus your
modifier.
strength.
so 15?
Yeah, easily. You're just like, phoom.
Okay.
So are you using like the pommel of the dagger
No,
or
just like my fist.
just fist?
Yeah.
So 1 point of damage plus your strength modifier.
So 3?
3. So you're just like, and you see him kind of stagger a little bit, and his eyes go a little cross-eyed, but he's still on his feet. But you see like a little bit of like, because you like catch him like right on his, not quite in the very top, but off to the side. There's like a little bit of the blood, and he's just kind of staggering around in the spot for a moment.
Endora.
And that was that one that you.
Yeah.
Okay, and so he doesn't have a club anymore.
No.
He does not
Okay.
have a club.
I'm going to scamper forward and I'm going to scratch at him.
this
Alright, so
Here?
move your miniature
Yes.
before you. Alright, so you rush forward and you.
It would be plus, it would be dex or strength for those.
They're finesse, so she could use dex or strength, whichever.
So 16.
Alright, yeah, so you hit. So you do 1 point of damage plus your dexterity modifier.
Okay. So 2.
So you're like, and he's scratching
Yeah.
kind of across the face, and it
Yeah.
leaves those like little red marks, like that.
Maybe
They're,
like a couple pinpricks of blood.
yeah, it's probably going to be infected tomorrow
Good.
because that's
Yeah,
the way.
cat scratch fever.
Yeah.
Yep. It's that.
He's gonna show up at the club afterwards.
He's taken 5 points of damage.
No.
No, that's right. The other one took. Okay.
So 2.
It is Princess's turn next.
All right, so she runs forward. So she moves
Right up to
6. If that takes her to 6.
Oops. She's here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Was she in line with the other two or?
Yeah, she should have been.
Okay, so, yeah.
So she just runs up, and you see her ball up her fist, and she's just like swings at you. And she hits an armor class of. Oh, she's only going to hit an armor class of 8 as she swings at you. But as the fist goes past your face, you can feel the wind. She might be a princess, but she looks like she knows exactly what she's doing.
Alright. Ruby.
You two know firsthand that she hits hard.
I guess I'll move like forward between them a bit and try and like do the breath weapon thing, right? Like aiming to intimidate. I don't want to like burn them to death.
Okay, so you just kind of run up and growl and like launch the flame into the air, or what do you
Yeah,
want?
kinda, I guess. Maybe
Alright.
like towards them a little bit to singe them.
Okay, so roll intimidation with advantage because fire is scary.
10.
So advantage is roll twice and take the
Roll
highest.
twice. Okay. 15.
15. All right, so you run out there and you're like, "Rah!" and this like cone of flame goes into the air. The thug there, yeah, he's going to kind of drop his club and kind of back up like, whoa. But she doesn't seem phased at all. She's got some balls. Whereas her other,
Did he actually move or
Does
did
he
he just
move or
cower?
no?
he just cowers.
Oh, okay.
He drops the club and just kind of cowers. The other guy kind of sees what's going on over there, but since he's far enough away from you, he's a little less intimidated. But he doesn't look like he wants to go anywhere near you.
And this is a badass.
But Kamari seems pretty much unfazed. I rolled a natural 20 for her. She's not scared. She ain't scared.
She gets to punch me now.
Aditi is going to skimmer forward and pick up the club that just fell on the ground.
Okay.
And then she's gonna like let out a battle cry and go for the princess's fucking kneecaps.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh, alright. 13.
That will hit.
Nice.
So D4
Because I am
plus
not
your strength
proficient
modifier.
in club.
Because the club is not in this.
It's 4.
Oh shit, yeah! 2 points of damage.
Nice.
There's a little bit of resentment.
So you kind of run around there and you're like, catch her like right in like kind of the thigh area with a solid thwack. Who's next?
Next it is Sooraj.
Alright, Sooraj, what are you doing?
Alright, I'll come around here and I'm going to punch the startled thug.
Okay.
I don't know.
You will have advantage on the attack
Right
roll.
in the mouth.
Punch him.
So roll twice, take the highest.
I'll take the 20 that I rolled.
Alright. So you run
I'm
over
gonna try and roll a
there and you
21.
do 1 point of damage. Do you have a strength modifier?
No.
Alright, so you do 2 points of damage because you crit. So you're like, as he's like startled and sees you come around, and you just catch him right in the jaw, and he's like head snaps to the side, and he just kind of rolls to the ground, unconscious.
Maybe loosen some teeth a little bit.
Yeah, you're pretty sure.
Back for that eye.
Yeah,
If it was me.
but he drops to the ground with that like a sack of potatoes. Who's next?
It's initiative.
All right.
Yeah.
Sooraj,
13.
Nirna,
14.
Ruby,
11.
Vikram,
5.
Endora,
19.
wannabe princess,
6.
and nameless thug.
Nameless Thug goes on 16, and then Other goes on 15.
Oh shit. Endora is first.
I'm going to kind of move
So this
towards
one's
her,
done, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's just got it there.
and I'm going to scratch at the princess's face.
All right.
Not the face.
Oh yeah, I'm going for the face.
The eyes.
So, 15.
That will hit. So, 1 point of damage plus your dex modifier.
So 2.
So 2. All right. So you scratch at her face, and she looks pretty beat up, but she just kind of snarls at you.
You're probably going to get an infection and a scar.
Ha ha. Thug's turn.
So the thug, you snatched his club away, and then, but everybody seems to be ganging up on Kamara at Karami. Ugh, my own names, come on now. Karami, everybody seems to be ganging up on Karami. So he is just going to, who is that directly in front of him?
That one?
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
me.
one. Alright, so he is just going to swing at you. He's going to hit an armor class of 11. That
That's what
is
you have.
10 plus your dex modifier.
Yeah, so that hits.
Alright, so he hits you for 2 points of damage. He's just like, who's next?
Other.
Alright, at this point, you feel, everybody make perception checks.
Perception is.
Plus your wisdom.
I rolled a 1.
You are unaware.
Yes.
17.
17, okay.
18.
18,
16.
okay.
6.
10.
Alright, so you three notice that there's a strange fog kind of moving in. It seems to be coming from different directions. It's completely unnatural. It has a slight As it gets closer, it starts to take on a slight greenish glow to it. Who got the 18? You notice, at first, it just seems like it's kind of got this rolling amorphous shape, but then you start to notice almost distended skull-like shapes in the clouds.
That fog it's got faces in it.
Fog? I'm above everyone and I can't notice the fog.
I have to look down.
You're like a foot taller
I
than
know.
everybody here.
Well, that is Nearnad's turn.
So he says that out loud, so
I'm gonna shoulder check the princess and try and just knock her out. Just like knock her down. So
Alright,
she stops
roll it.
hitting people. Plus my dex or no?
strength modifier.
Oh, 19.
Alright, so yeah, you just kind of like throw your shoulder into her and she just goes right down to the ground. Because you do what, 3 points? 1 point plus your strength modifier?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just drops right down to the ground and not unconscious, but she is on her butt and she's not, doesn't look like she's ready to get up. Who's
After
next?
Nearnad and Sooraj.
You see this fog is getting closer and it's getting cold. You've never felt cold, not like this before.
I told you that the dead things were gonna come back to life.
It's just fog.
The fog's glowing.
Got faces in it. He even saw them.
It's your imagination.
I don't see anything.
You wouldn't down there, but anyway.
You're just that the cat look, just the disdainful.
The little
How
nose
dare
wrinkle.
you?
So what are you doing?
Are you suggesting we run?
I think that we should run away and they can. I don't know.
Let's leave them behind.
Ah, let's finish what we started.
Can you fight dead things?
No.
'Cause
This one's here for a barbecue.
I'm a
How many people could I carry?
One.
Like a little.
You're big and strong,
Muscles.
but you're still just a kid. You
Who
haven't
else
quite
can-
gotten there
Who
yet.
else can
I
carry
can
people?
fly. I could just.
I don't think we're all strong enough to.
Ruby probably could.
Let's flee.
It is
But it
Ruby's
is,
turn.
it is, what did
Oh,
you
it's
do?
Sooraj's turn.
What are you doing? You gonna take off and try to run back towards the gate? What do you wanna do?
Yes, I'm gonna start heading towards the gate. I'm gonna tell these guys I'm not staying in a graveyard where there's green clouds with chicken. Yeah, I am.
Alright, so you take off and you begin running towards the gate, which is in that end of the table. So you move 6, and if you want, you can dash to move 6 more.
Just looking at
Either.
Come on!
Alright, who's next?
Ruby.
Alright, Ruby. You see Sooraj basically take off running. You too can see the odd green clouds, and it doesn't make you feel like this is something that is safe.
Yeah.
There's a difference between getting in a fist fight with some kids in a graveyard and fighting something that could very possibly be undead.
I just back up a bit, like not a lot. That I'm like kind of still like there in the fight, but just like a little clearer so that I could take off.
Alright.
How much?
Like 3. Okay, yeah.
about there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. After Ruby, it's the princess.
And she kind of shakes her head and she just kind of holds it, but she doesn't do anything at this point.
Then it is Vikram and Aditi simultaneously.
Alright, which one of you wants to act first?
Oh. So we're both the same.
Yeah.
All right. I agree with Sooraj, and I'm just gonna run
Dash.
back towards the gate as well. That was a 1.
Aditi is gonna lean down to the thug whose club she just took and using her experience of waking up drunk people morning after a night of festivity, she's gonna kind of slap them in the face and be like, wake up with the dead things will get you. And then she throws the club at the cloud and runs away.
Alright, so.
I only get 6 movement.
Alright, so. So your action is basically to attempt to wake this guy up.
Yeah.
Give me a wisdom check.
11.
Yeah, you're like. He's like, Mom? He kind of looks around and hears you talking about the
dead will
dead getting him, and he's like looking around as you run 6 towards the gate. Who's next?
It's initiative. Come on, Endora! Alright. Sooraj?
3.
Nirned?
3.
Ruby?
11.
Vikram?
14.
Endora?
3. Weasel.
6.
Thugs?
4.
Other?
Goes on 14.
Okay. Aditi is first. And she is going to scramble actually back towards the party here because she forgot her lantern. And she's going to go and she's going to pick that up. And then she's going to run again towards the gate.
So she runs back 6.
1, 2, 3.
Alright.
1, 2.
Alright.
I run it through no graveyard in the dark. And then it is Other and Vikram simultaneous.
Alright. So
I'm gonna just head. So is the gate basically at the edge here? On the inside, is there any difference to the chain? Like anything I can unhook, unlatch that I can see? No.
no, it's just like a padlock.
Alright. I'm gonna just wait here for everyone else to come up, and if that cloud gets too close, I'm just gonna book it through.
Duck out. Alright. Alright. So the cloud gets ever closer, moving to within about 10 feet of the group that's over here. So
It's about here.
So pick 3 green ones, or whatever color, as long as they're the same color. And they just kind of come kind of moving in towards you guys. It feels cold. The 3 people or 4 people that are still there.
5.
Give 5 people.
The thugs, the princess.
Oh, I didn't see the white one.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody make wisdom saving throws.
I don't wanna. I don't wanna.
Here.
Alright.
Alright.
18?
18. You succeed.
2.
2. You fail. You immediately become terrified, and you get some of the hair, some of your fur and the hair and everything you get like little white streaks that kind of flow through your hair, and you immediately run your full speed away, screaming.
Scaredy cat. Tail.
Yeah.
The red one failed and has a similar episode, runs fully away. The, what is that, green or blue?
Blue.
Does the same thing.
He's only going to move half though because
He has to get up.
He has to stand up.
So he moves 3 and then moves 6 more. His dash.
Yep.
Yeah, he goes to run away from the cloud and run into a dragon. It's scary.
Kirami kind of stands up, turns around, and just kind of reaches down, picks up the club, and looks back at the fog clouds.
She's crazy.
Grab her by the hair and pull her.
Right?
Who's next?
Well, Other and Vikram were silent. Did you go?
Yeah.
Okay, then that makes it Ruby's turn.
All right, Ruby, what you doing?
I'm gonna just kind of lift off into the air, but kind of run back towards the gate, or fly back towards the gate. I guess.
Okay.
How far can you fly? Is it like
Fly
Same
normal
as
is
walking
40 foot.
Oh.
speed.
Same as their movement. Your
So did you want to dash or just?
I guess dash in here then.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do the same as you, just kind of wait around and see what's going on.
Okay.
If everyone gets out safely.
Who's next?
Princess.
Alright, so she's looks around, sees that everybody else has run. She's like, except you. She kind of stands next to you. She's like, let's get him. Who's next? She's basically holding her action.
Thugs.
They
They run.
Do they fit through the bars?
Yes.
do they run again? Because they've already moved this turn. To
Yeah.
the sheriff flag. Okay.
So they ran away.
Yeah, they're out.
Always running.
GTFO.
Yep.
And then it's literally everyone else. Endora, Nirnan, and Sooraj.
How big is this girl?
She's not a lot smaller than you. She's maybe about 4 inches shorter than you.
Okay, so I've got a strength of 14.
So
Can-
she.
Can I attempt to grab her and run with her?
You can certainly try.
Okay. What do I roll to do that?
It would be a
Uh,
strength check. Basically,
Yeah,
you
athletics for grapple.
And I have proficiency with athletics.
Yeah, so you add +4 to your roll.
Okay. 21.
She tries to resist, but she doesn't even get anywhere near.
So I'm gonna like grab her around the waist basically and kind of just throw her over my shoulder and run with her.
Okay, so carrying her, you can only move half speed.
Okay.
So you can
What
move.
about dragging her? Is that
It's
Still
the
the
same,
same, okay.
basically forcing somebody else to move.
Okay.
You reduce
so
half
it
speed.
goes 6?
Yeah, if you're because your
Use your
action was
action to grab her.
to grab her, so you
So
can
you can
move.
move 3.
Okay.
You move 3 squares.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, definitely. Who's next?
Sooraj and Endora are also Simo.
I will get up to the gate.
You were scared, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you just keep going.
You just
I
keep going.
slip through.
Keep on running.
I will go to the fence. So I think I can make it there, yeah. So I'm at the fence waiting to make sure that the others get through.
Okay.
And that makes it
Because we have to
initiative.
figure out a way to get this giant through the fence.
That's kind of a giant.
Sooraj,
I'm not a giant.
Nirnan,
10.
Ruby,
8.
Vikram,
10.
You're a giant to me.
Endora, 3. Snotty Brat,
11.
Thugs,
Those
Gone.
are gone.
Good. Basically.
Other.
9.
Okay, so Sooraj.
Holding my action.
Hold your action
To do
dash to basically get out of the thing. Okay.
Kermit? Kimmy?
Romy?
Karami.
Karami.
Rami?
She will attempt to get out of your grasp. So
So you roll your athletics. Keep her in place.
Plus
10.
+4, yeah.
13.
All right, so you keep hold of her. She's like, "Put me down!" So
No.
she can't go anywhere.
Okay.
Vikram, Nirnan, and Aditi are Simos.
So I can still only go 3 with
You
her?
can go a total of 6 if you use your action to dash.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. 6. Get me closer.
Vikram.
I would.
I don't know how we're gonna get
Let's do that later.
fence here to get you over the
I
fence.
think they'll be able to climb from the inside. I'm basically gonna just stay here and wait for now.
Alright. Alright, so holding your action.
I'll hold a ready action to already a help action. If a friendly gets close and needs help climbing,
Alright.
Next is, well, Aditi is also Simo with them. She's gonna run up to the fence, to part of the stone wall, and she's gonna yell at Nirnan, "Drop that stupid girl and run!" And she's gonna cup her hands and be like, "Come on!" Basically just trying to boost her up over the wall.
It's also
That's-
readying a help action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other.
So it moves forward 6. And it just kind of starts to merge together and turn into this like rolling mass of skeletal heads and arms. And you hear this like screaming and wailing from something hellish, maybe below the, like deep in the grave. Like this green light seems to emanate from the eyes and mouth of the skulls as it just crawls near you, this rolling mass of undeath.
I don't like this place. Oh no, I want to go along the mountains. I like it here.
Ruby.
Wait.
Endora.
You're still frightened.
Gone.
Headed back to town, basically.
Especially
Yeah.
since Tabaxi have that dash feature. She probably activated
She only
that.
uses it every other round, and if she has to stop moving, so she uses it the first round, and then after that she's just kind of on her own. But
Gives you
yeah,
like this crazy burst of speed.
because you failed that save, you just keep running.
Okay.
You don't have any choice. Sorry.
And that makes it initiative. Do you want me to keep Endora on the initiative roll?
There's no need at this point.
Sooraj?
Dead
Three.
Near dead?
9.
Ruby?
20.
Vikram?
6.
Okay, Princess?
11,
And other.
4.
Okay, Ruby.
Are you still waiting?
Yes.
Okay.
Is
I'm
gonna
still rolling, I'm not getting it.
continue to wait, hold a assist action.
Okay.
Bride Princess?
Again, she's gonna attempt to slip through. She gets an 18.
I got a 20.
All right. So she's struggling, and she's actually putting up a pretty good fight, but you just kind of like. Yeah.
Okay.
Clamp it down tighter on it.
Near dead's turn.
Dash it.
Alright. Yeah, we're gonna GTFO.
Make it there.
Okay, so we're gonna go here.
Okay. So you run up to the fence, and you're kind of looking at it, trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to get through? You don't quite fit through the bars.
You just shove her through.
So who's next?
Vikram.
I should push the princess.
Yeah, basically just gonna ready a help action.
Okay.
And other.
So it
6.
moves forward 6. As it gets there, it splits off into 4 writhing masses of tentacles,
Okay.
each with like made up of skulls.
It's Japanese.
Remember that one time that we found the tentacles that pulled us in?
So you can just take the beads off
I don't
and,
like tentacles.
I'm happy that experience in a past life.
I don't like tentacles.
and it's just wailing and screeching, and like the tentacles themselves are just made of skulls.
Smart.
No.
Yeah, look. Now you
Same
got
difference.
That looks better. Sooraj.
Alright, Sooraj, you see this thing getting closer, ever closer. You feel the draw of death coming down upon you.
Is she
What
back
are you
over
doing?
here, or is that princess over here? I don't know where you
Yeah,
She's
One
on,
top of me.
yeah.
Like she's
I'm
being
gripping
held,
her.
so it's in the same
Same
space.
spot.
Oh, and you're not on the fence yet?
No.
No. You're 10 feet.
And you're not-
Technically, the two of you have held actions that you can try to grab her and shove her through the fence if you want.
That's what I was thinking. I just want to push her through the fence. And
Except
go right
he's
behind
not
her.
right next to her.
Well, he
No,
can
I'm-
move.
I can
It is
move.
his turn.
Oh yeah, it is. Your turn. Yeah, so you can use your action this turn to do that.
Because you're not up at the fence either, so I'm gonna walk over along the fence. I'm gonna grab her. I'm gonna tell you, let's push her through the fence.
Alright, so who wants to roll the athletics check with advantage?
Alright. Alright.
Advantage, so And you have the skill in athletics, so you have a +2 to that.
She's 16.
16. Yeah. You guys grab her and she's kind of writhing and kicking and everything. You just kind of get her head through the bars and then just kind of like foot on the butt and just shove her through. She kind of stumbles forward through the fence
Okay.
to the other side.
You still have movement, right? Because you
Yeah.
can move, so you could go through too.
I'm going through.
Alright, so you used to have like 4 squares of movement, so you move through the fence to the other side.
Alright.
Who's next?
It's initiative. Anybody with held actions want to take them?
Yeah, well, you can.
I think you skipped me.
Did I skip
I should
you?
have been 6 on there.
Yeah.
That was Sooraj's turn.
That was my turn.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you'd said that you were holding your action.
I did last turn, but we hadn't got to me.
Okay.
I would have done that anyway. I would have held my action. So,
Alright.
so initiative.
Oh, I haven't rolled.
Oof.
Sooraj?
He's at
3, but I'm outside, so.
Nirnet?
7.
Ruby?
7.
Vikram?
3.
Okay, Endora's gone princess.
She's gone.
She's out here.
Is she gonna try and come back? I guess.
She's on an 8, so we'll see what she does when she gets there.
And the other.
Other 10.
It is Aditi's turn. She's gonna move over to the fence in front of Nirnan, and again set the lantern down and basically hold her feet, her hands in like a cup motion to try and help her.
Probably do it
Vault.
there, so that way she can
Defense.
actually move up.
Okay.
Alright. So you ready to help action?
Yep.
Who's
And
next?
it is the fog's turn.
Alright. So it moves forward
Yeah.
4. Wailing and screaming and carrying on. Anybody within 10 feet, give me a will save. Except for you.
Me?
You're wearing your ring, right?
And I don't think anyone's in 10 feet.
Yeah, the closest person is 15 feet away.
Okay. So it's just wailing and screaming and everything. You don't feel all that scared. You feel quite brave.
For now.
About
She will get up and kind of look at what's going on, and she just takes off going down the road.
That's right.
Alright. Nirnan and Ruby are Simo.
I'm going to take the help that.
Gonna try and climb the fence.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
So athletics check.
Athletics with advantage.
Yep.
There you go.
Plus a 4, right?
Yep.
20.
20? Yeah, you plant a foot in her cupped hands and up, grab hold of the thing and just kind of vault over the top and land on the other side.
Yay.
Who's next?
Would I actually be
Well,
able?
Ruby, sorry.
Would I actually be able to lift anybody?
You could, but everybody else that's here easily fits through
Yeah.
the gate, so.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
So you can just fly over.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. Who's next?
Vikram.
I see that everyone is basically out, and I know you can fit through, so I give you a nod and I slip through.
Okay.
Initiative.
Alright. So, hold on. So the princess is gone. She takes off down the road. And you see, as you guys are passing through the gates and everything, the 4 tentacles kind of come together and merge into a single shadowy form and slowly shrink down. Take the tentacles off. And in this space right there,
Huh.
you see a little fox appear, and you hear it kind of and take off into the graveyard. Yeah, it has a strange, almost Cheshire cat-like grin as it runs off.
With probably green eyes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. So you slip through the fence and everything. You guys are gathered together on the other side and feeling kind of accomplished.
Kind of.
We did it! Yeah! Yeah!
Did not die this time.
Over the course of the remainder of the week, as the bazaar and takes place, and there's a little bit of a festival, you tell your friend who fell under the fierce spell of the strange little fox. Tell her the story. Your hair and fur eventually go back to normal, as it was basically just kind of a prank. And you guys kind of tell the story to one another. You tell it to others, embellishing it a little bit here and there to talk about how brave you guys are. And you guys kind of start to hang out a little bit over that week. You really kind of bond with a little bit of a tighter friendship. At the end of the week, however, you wind up moving on with your family, headed towards the coast, having a rather successful haul bout of selling various trinkets and stuff that you had collected. Do you sell the bracelet, or do you keep it?
No, I'll keep that.
How about the carved tooth necklace?
No, I like that too.
So you hold on
I
to
like
your
accessories.
hold on to your little trinkets that you've collected, trophies of your adventures, and you wind up. You're not certain as to where you got it from, but you wind up with a tiny little copper fox-shaped ring. And you kind of hold on to it, and you're like, yeah, I don't know where I got it from, but you keep it. All of you actually wind up. 2 of you already had one. But the rest of you wind up with this little ring. I'm not quite certain where you got it from. And you 2 try to take them to go see the vendor, but she doesn't seem to be in town anymore. At least you don't find her anywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna go tell her about the cool adventure.
But Ruby, you decide that there's been a little bit of adventure here. These people seem to be pretty cool. So you decide to go ahead and just kind of linger in town. Seems like a good place to maybe pick up a few experiences before you decide to eventually move on. And that brings us to the end of tonight's adventure.
Does Aditi
Yes, that's
make the money to get
Yes, easily.
Okay.
And then some. She also sets up a date which takes place.
It has to go
You don't-
after the busy season, like after this event, but
Yeah. You don't know exactly how it goes because,
Didn't ask for the
he doesn't.
I don't know and I don't want to.
Savin doesn't kiss and tell. Well, okay, he does, but
Yes,
but there you go. The first of the adventures has taken place. I will send everybody a little bit of information over the course of the next 2 weeks, because we'll be getting together in 2 weeks, right?
What's the date on that? You're going to Florida.
Florida.
So let's see, a week is
That would be-
the 19th, so the 5th of November, I think.
Going to
Remember?
Florida.
The week after.
Okay.
I will just be exhausted, but okay.
You'll be fine.
You say that, but I'm the one that gets an hour of sleep the next day.
Yeah.
It's the day after.
It's your choice.
We'll send you a bang so you can drink.
I'm gonna
that.
drink a lot of them probably, so I'm gonna be shaking.
Had
my
2
way
cases
to-
worth in his office.
Be sure to
Just
send me
remind-
some information
Yeah.
over the next week, please. Not 2 weeks from now, but like sometime over the course of the next week. And tell me what it is that you intend for your characters to try to do over the course of the next year.
Okay.
You know, what types of things do you want to try to do? Are you going to try to like learn some skills, or find a mentor, get a job? Basically, just in a somewhat story-like fashion, tell me what it is that your character does over the course of the next year.
So just telling you we have man skills doesn't.
So is this going to be after you send us a bit of information, or are you going to send us that after?
It's going to be a shared
A
thing.
shared thing?
So basically, you'll tell me what it is that you hope to accomplish, and then I will kind of give you an idea of how it works out for you.
Okay.
And then we might, depending on what you're trying to do, there might be like a little bit of a back and forth to kind of work it out, but generally speaking, we'll, and then after I get all of that information, after we work that information out,
Yeah.
I will send you guys some stat adjustments and anything that would change with your character over the course of the year.
Okay.